Thank
I
you.
was about to start when you just pop up.
Good timing.
Thank
Good,
you.
absolute good time. Okay. All right. So um, I was about to start. I'm going to start now. So welcome everybody. Today I prepare a very colorful presentation, so I try not to be too boring. So I'll be a number of interaction points where we can do brief comments, some quick pause for reflections, and I hope this is not going to go beyond the time. It's going to be a long, but I hope it will be funny. I mean, I'll be enjoyable presentation, enjoyable subject. The Emmanuel's chapter 24 will be revealed along the presentation. Okay, so I'll give you the, parts of when it's pertinent. So as you guys know, we are doing reflections from the Living Spring, the book from Chico Xavier that he psychographed as Emmanuel, dictated by Emmanuel. This actually so those chapters coincide from the Gospel. Most of all of them, I think, from the Bible, from the Gospel, and it will assist us on our daily struggle with life, with ourselves. So let's start. Today we will reflect on a simple but challenged idea: how we truly value people. And the Emmanuel will start the text, start the chapter 24 by saying this passage from Paul, which is appearing now, the Apostle Paul teaching. This passage for Paul is in his first epistle to the Thessalonians, is remarkably expressive for our daily struggles, what I mentioned before. So give you a little bit of feedback. The apostle advice was in fact directed to an early Christian church in Thessalonica. Paul instructed the believers on how to treat to take their spiritual leaders into consideration, and also wish peace amongst them in the full verse. So it says, hold them in the highest esteem and love. Hold them in the highest esteem and love because of their work. Paul doesn't say because of their belief. He says because their work. So Paul emphasized that their regard should be based on the nature and value of the leaders. Right? Paul was emphasizing that the regard of their followers, the believers that was in that new church, should be based on the leaders do, not on personal status or popularity. Should be by their labor, like shepherding souls, teaching, and spiritual care. The verse often concludes with instructions to live in peace with each other. When you see this in the Bible, different versions of the Bible, it says live in peace with each other, suggesting that when leaders are properly respected and the congregation is based on love, communal harmony naturally follows. Where do you see this in real life? I think we are going through a period of time where leaders have a lot of followers. Are they being followed by their doings or by what they say, by the way they look, by their popularity? And why does Paul emphasize work rather than belief orientation? Well, Emmanuel continues in the chapter 25, advising. We all tend to reserve our highest esteem for those who see life according to our own standard. Our devotion is readily given to those who share our viewpoints or our ingrained habits and our social principles. So we do where do we apply this in our daily lives? We face this teaching in everyday life. Dealing with relatives. The relative that disagree with us, and we know they want the best for us, but we don't take them as the best one. With friends, the funny, the charismatic, not too ethical, but who cares? And when you choose our role models as well. So we admire them for what they say, but we do not pay attention to what they do. How many we can think a lot of those out there that we admire, but you don't have a clue about their actual life. And finally, at work, similar. Two colleagues, one agree with us, the other challenges us, but the second, the one who challenged us, is more ethical. Who do we favor more? The one who agree with us or the other one? Who disagrees, but you know they are much more ethical. So, thinking of a recent situation. Did I value someone for agreeing with me or for doing what was right? This is a natural human tendency, okay? We naturally associate agreement, concordance with goodness, but they are not the same. We value those who think like us. We regard those who agree with us. Is disagreement sometimes a sign of growth, rather conflict? This is what we call the human criteria to analyze of this. But there is a subtle problem. And Emmanuel adds to the chapter 24. Yet, our interpretations are not always the best. Our customs, not always the noblest, nor our values, the most commendable. So, our views are not always the best. Example, if you look at someone goes up to the mountain and we are down on the plain, on the flat land, who has the best view? the one, the view of the area, the one on top of the mountain or in the middle of the mountain, and anywhere higher, where we have the view in the flat, but we still think that we have the best view. Our view is the truth. And so in different areas of the, the life, people have different views, sometimes much better than ours. But our attitude is, I may be wrong, but it's highly unlikely. So, some questions to think. When was the last time we realized we were wrong? Think about it. Have I ever defended an opinion more out of pride than truth? How does pride affect our judgment? Allan Kardec says, pride is the source of many errors. Can someone please just raise the hand so I can see if the hands was raised? Yes, thank you. Yeah, someone want to raise the hand, then I will be able to see it. Just put it, yeah, here. Okay. So this is, in fact, the ego barrier. On the chapter 24, Emmanuel continues. See, he mentioned previously, we are not right, we are not unbiased. So he said, hence arises the need to break out of the shell, of our selfishness, so that we may offer friendship and respect to others. Not because of any emotional attachment to our personal way of life, but because of the faithfulness with which they are guided in the service of common good. So Emmanuel said, we must break the shell of selfishness. What are the subtle forms of selfishness in daily life? We want to be always right. We want sometimes the best position, the best place, the best food. We want to be regarded. We want to appear. We want to be noticed. So there are a number of signs of selfishness in our daily life. Example, a person insists. Someone, how many? Let's see if we didn't see any of us here didn't find ourselves in such situation, insisting in being right in a family discussion. Later, we realize that relationship matter more than winning. How many times? So many. Sometimes if it's futile and it's the ego, I want to be right. I want to be right. So how does ego look like on daily behavior? This is also mentioned in the Spirit's book. The Spirit's book, question 913. It asks, so Kardec asks, from all the human's imperfections, what will be the key one? So wrapping up, the answer was, all moral failings stem from selfishness. True transformation begins when we remove it from our hearts. Because selfishness and virtues like justice, love, and charity cannot coexist. They are incompatible. Love sometimes, crash with selfishness, and so charity, and so justice. So Allan Kardec says selfishness is the greatest obstacle to progress. We need to get out of the shell. We need to break it. We need, with self-knowledge, conscious choices, break into this shell. Break free. So, a new criterion for valuing others by commitment to the common good. So, value others by their commitment to the common good would be the new criterion. Okay, so this is suggested. This is the suggestion from Emmanuel in that chapter 24, that we observe that verse from Paul when he's talking with the believers there in Thessalonians, that we need to value people by the commitment to the common good. Let's see some examples. Right? A quiet volunteer who helps consistently versus a charismatic speaker who inspires but does little. Who contributes more to the common good, the visible or the consistent? Who do we admire more, the talker or the doer? So how do we recognize someone committed to the common good? To be able to do this, we need to look at some illusions where you fall, and also mentioned by Emmanuel, when you assess someone, when you look at someone and make our regards to them. So the first illusion is the appearance. Beauty fades. So how much value we give to appearances? How often do we judge by appearance? Let's see some examples. Okay. Curated image versus real life character. When it happens, where are the examples? We can have many, but I'll show you some. For example, social media. Curated image is quite social media. So a person appears happy, successful, and kind online, but in real life may struggle with relationships or treat others poorly. What's visible is not always what is real. How many times have we seen that? How many people we know online that say something and do different? First impressions, that's quite good one. We meet someone well-dressed and confident and assume they are trustworthy, while overlooking someone quieter who is deeply ethical. Appearance influences judgment before truth is known. So you always are attracted to the appearances, you do the first judgment, and then later you may disappoint and regret not paying attention to the other one that didn't have much appearance, but the actions show us that they were much more ethical. And also in community life, someone is always present, visible, and admired, but contributes little in real acts of service. Visibility is not the same as value. I have actually a story. You guys know about the accident between that always involved with Carmen. Carmen hit my car. Da, da, da. I'm not sure if I mentioned to you guys that girl. As soon as the car hit this girl, she was young, like 24, 25, early 30s. Came from nowhere. I think she came from a youth. She was a trade. She had lots of tattoos, and she looked like she had a wife. So you can more or less see the look of her. She came to help Carmen. I couldn't see nothing sweeter. She was a sweet girl. And then she called the ambulance. She stayed with her. Then Carmen said, "Oh, you can go." No, my wife is waiting for me, but no problem. I will stay here with you, and I only going to leave it after I'm sure you are okay. I'll wait for the ambulance with you. Said, "Oh, she could go home." And if you look to her appearance, she was nothing what to expect for someone who we think is there, like, in the church, very well dressed to be in front of Jesus. She was genuinely an angel. So this is what Emmanuel is trying to tell us. Look at the acts, not the appearances. So, do we admire people for what they show or for what they do? This girl, unbelievably taught me a lot. I was looking, I was thinking myself, I was turmoil in my head. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that I attract this type of people as well, because once I told you I was with my bike, and my bike was a problem with battery, so it's 250 kilos, and I was in a roundabout, and I had having this problem. I couldn't let the engine go, and for some reason the engine bang. Then I was there 5:30 p.m. and I was trying to get this bike to run, and then an old man, came from my youth as well to help me. No one on the fancy cars and blah blah, no one stopped. And again, made my head turmoil for myself. I thought, oh my God, he didn't need to do that. But he only left when the bike ran again. It's unbelievable. So we are shown over and over those value, and sometimes you don't recognize them. So on this subject, Emmanuel adds on the chapter 24, saying, if we love someone only for physical beauty, we may soon find the object of our affection fading into decay. So let's reflect again. For us, let's think for us. Have I ever misjudged someone based on appearance? How many times? I think we did, right? I did. About us now. Do I sometimes try to appear good or to truly be good? I just appeared to be good, or I was trying to really be good. That's another thing we do for appearances. And about us again. If all external appearances were removed, what would remain of who I am? That's quite good. The second illusion is speech. Think about, have I ever been more impressed by words than by actions? A lot of people in the other hemisphere have had when they choose their leaders. Sometimes here in Brazil as well. A lot of people impressed by words. Another question for you. Have I ever admired someone's words, but later felt disappointed by their action? Well, same people. Eloquence can fail. So let's see some examples. So inspiring speech versus real life behavior. Where it happens? Let's see at work. A colleague gives inspiring speeches about teamwork, but never supports others when help is needed. Very common. Words inspire, but actions reveal character. They deliver a very good, inspiring speech about teamwork. Let's do it. Well, at the crunch time, he doesn't do anything. Oh, she, me. I'm talking about the colleague. Another one is in the family. Someone speaks beautifully about patience, but reacts with anger at home. The real test is not public speech, but private behavior. And again, social media. People post about kindness, about empathy and justice, but may act harshly or indifferently in real life. Sometimes even in the comments, when someone says something they don't like, they act completely contrary what they just preached. So public image needs to be in sync with living reality. So what matters more, speaking well or living well? In this subject, Emmanuel adds to the chapter 24. If we value a friend only for brilliant speech, they may soon be reduced to painful silence. Very, very beautiful statement. And Kardec also said, it's not enough to speak of good. It must be practiced. And Jesus confronted the Pharisee in his time in regards to saying something and doing something else. They preach, but don't do what they preach. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you. So this is in Matthew 23:3. Says, So you must be careful to do everything they tell you, but do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. That is in Matthew 23:3. So maybe this is the origin of the say, do as they say, not as they do. What is this? One word: hypocrisy. So even in a spiritual context, eloquence can mask moral inconsistency. Repeating, eloquence can mask moral inconsistency. And the third illusion that we fall when we are, looking at someone is control. In this subject, Manuel adds to the chapter 24. If we devote ourselves to someone merely because they obey us blindly, we may well be contributing to the downfall of others through the same errors into which we ourselves have so often fallen. Look, the focus can be another way around, which is actually going to be my focus on that illusion called control, obedience, and agreement. So this will be more on blindly obeying, agreeing. So where do we see blind obedience today? So it says blind obedience can harm. So that's what Emmanuel says. So where do you see blindly obedience today? Let's see some examples. I call obedience of accordance versus harm. I give the examples. Again, workplace. An employee follows an instruction they know is unfair or dishonest, but because it came from the boss, but just because it came from the boss. So the boss said, you do. Right? Obedience does not remove responsibility. That's the message in regards to ethical. What about in family? That's quite interesting one as well. A child obeys without understanding and repeats harmful behavior because that's how it's always done. He was taught to do this way and he keeps doing and obey, which is quite interesting. The message is tradition without reflection can perpetuate error. It's a good one to think. In social group, someone adopts, it's very common, someone adopts opinions or behavior just to belong to a group. This is what you call it peer pressure on these teenagers, very common teenagers. Even when they feel it's not right, just do it to belong. So the desire for acceptance can override conscience. We do this when gossiping. We laugh just because everybody is laughing, even though we think this is not right. So in a group, a wrong decision, given the story now, in a group, a wrong decision is being made. Several people felt uncomfortable, but no one speaks. Everyone follows along. This is common in the workplace. Later, harm is done. And each one says, I was just following. Forgetting that silence is also a choice. Right, Colleen? So, how many times we've been silent? A question for reflection. Is obedience always a virtue? What is harder, obeying or taking responsibility for a decision? When does obedience stop being a virtue and become irresponsibility? If I feel something is wrong but remain silent, am I participating? So comes the conclusion for this one. When morality is outsourced, conscience is no longer required. So outsourcing morality, we surrounding the sacred responsibility of listening to our own conscience. We are silencing it as opposed to awakening it. So this is called, what's called the, now we're entering this in the area of moral growth. So we have seen that appearance can deceive, words can be misled, words can mislead, and even obedience can blind us. So the question becomes, how do we grow beyond those illusions that we just saw? Okay. From appearance, words, and control to conscious action. Emmanuel adds further to the chapter 24 on that area. It's essential to refine the way we see and feel so that we may advance toward a higher life. That's what Emmanuel will add on that aspect. So moral growth is exactly this process. Learning not just to see, hear, or follow, but to think, feel, and act with conscience. Imagine 3 situations. Someone looks good, but acts selfishly. Someone speaks well, but acts poorly. Someone gives orders, but leads wrongly. In all these 3 cases, what protects us? Not what we see, not what we hear, not what we are taught, but we understand and choose to do. So growth is equal to an independent moral judgment, where you have the trust, the integrity, the courage, the responsibility independent of those factors. So rethinking about how we value others, what is the true measure? If moral growth is learning to move beyond appearance, beyond words, and beyond blind obedience, then we arrive at a simple question. how do we truly measure a person or even ourselves? And there is only one reliable answer. What answer is that? Can you please get the chapter 24 and read the first 3 words? It says, by the works. That's what Emmanuel was meaning with this title. So actions reveal what appearances conceal. So actions, look at their actions, was recommended by Paul and advised by Emmanuel. And this is distinguished by its consistency. So someone who quietly practices kindness every day, even when no one is watching. Consistency reveal character. Is that situation when we do the good things, the right things automatically. We don't care if someone's watching, because this is what we need to do. Right? That consistency. We reach that point. Right? When we reach that point, that in a spiritual evolution, we don't care if someone is watching or not. We need to do it. It's like a job. It's like a task we need to do. We need to get done. Just do the right thing, whatever it is. It's like this man who helped me with the bike. He didn't want people to look at him. He said, oh, this guy, I need to do this. Same for that girl. Another one is integrity, even under pressure. A person who chooses honesty, even when it costs them something. True measure appears in difficult situations. So the measure we need to use to regard a person, it's mainly those appears in difficult situations. It's like that one who is going to, come to the boss said something for them to do, and in fact, he actually argues with the boss, trying to show to the boss that this is not this is not okay, in behalf of the one who's going to be ordered to do it. Or says, okay, send someone else to do it. I am not going to do this. I know it's not hard, it's difficult. We may, get in trouble with that. But again, it's in difficult situations that this true measure, integrity, appears. And the works, distinguished by its no dependence on visibility. Someone who helps others without recognition or reward. Real value is often unseen. Again, the person doesn't want to be seen as well because he thinks that's a task. This is something I have to do, I must do. Without question. It's part of their soul. It's part of their more moral growth. So the real true measure on how a person, the value of a person, the true measure on how to value another person is not by what they say, they believe, not by how they appear, not by what others expect from them, but by what they consistently do. And there is this story about the trees and the fruits Jesus just mentioned. So you don't identify a tree by its leaves or by how it looks from the distance, but by the fruit it produces. In the same way, a spirit is known by the good it generates. So Allan Kardec also says, a good tree cannot bear a bad fruit. So this is the true measure. Some other questions for you to reflect. What fruits define a good person? I think we mentioned. What fruits do we observe in people? Any comments, please, so far? Anyone who wants to say something?
No, all good.
Okay, so let's keep going. So Emmanuel completes the chapter 24, so that's the last paragraph of the chapter 24, saying, above all, let us value others by the works through which they benefit the time and place in which we live. So the benefits they create where we are, where we are. For one day we will understand that the best is rarely the one who agrees with us, but always the one who agrees with the Lord. Working with him in the improvement of life within and around us. If works are the true measure, as we just said, just saw, works are the true measure. Works with consistency, integrity, and no dependence of visibility as some of those distinguished characteristics. Then the question is no longer about others. It becomes a question about ourselves. Not what we believe, not what we intend, not what we say, but what we are actually doing. So this is about us now. Before it was how we value another person. Now let's look at us with the same lens. So now the message becomes very simple and very personal. What good I am doing today? So let's make this practical, asking daily. What good I am doing? Have I been kind? Have I been patient? Have I made conscious choices? Have I acted out of love? So the teaching stops being about others and becomes about me, about us. In James 2:26, it says, for as the body without the spirit is, for as the body without spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So this is a bit of, funny way of putting the words, but it says, the same way a body is dead without a spirit, so is faith without works. And we have this faith without works dead. And the Spiritism interpret James very, very accurately and says, in Spiritism, the teachings of James finds its full expression. Faith is not what we profess, it's said that, but what we live. Because only through love in action does faith become alive. just for Colleen, fate, fé in Portuguese. That's why I said fé. It's fate. So again, because only through love in action does fate become alive. And then comes the famous, like the phrase from Spiritism that says, outside charity, there is no salvation. Faith alone is insufficient. It must be accompanied by works, the works we just discussed, by acts of goodness and love towards others. So now come my, let's see, a closing reflection. We've talked about appearance. Oh, go, Colleen. Sorry, before the reflection.
Thank you. Can you go back to the previous slide, Jack?
Yes, no problem at all. That one?
Yes. So this is a remarkable invitation for us all to get off our bottoms and to actually live our faith, or to live in love. It is also a challenge for those who live their lives in this practical expression of love, to share and to give. These individuals find it very difficult when they themselves are incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
So because we embrace this teaching, we acknowledge that those who do are valued, that those who do are judged kindly, and those that do not do, who are not physically capable, are somehow dragging the rest down. So when, say, a person who, as I said, who is incapacitated, suddenly they find themselves in a position, say, when they get older and cannot move, or they meet with an accident, or they are undergoing treatment, that they feel themselves, as I said before, to be letting the side down. There is a misunderstanding, I sense, and this has led to a lot of people sitting in not only grief for what has become of them, being a drain on society, or being a drain on their family, or being a drain on the government, because they now no longer can provide for themselves, but now need public funds to live their life. But it also is a drain on their spiritual journey, because they cannot accept that they no longer can fulfill their role as a doer, and therefore find it very difficult to receive the help from others. And this is an extraordinary place. So many people have said about me, about me or the likes of me, that we are a drain on society. Because we are so dependent on others. And my parents or my friends or the support people are so good, because we, the afflicted, are so demanding. So this is a quandary for this teaching, isn't it? Because it boosts those that are doing, and it feeds into the ego, as it is a trap to do, to, yes, allow people to do. But when we are incapacitated no longer, it is difficult for us to receive because we do not know how to place our hearts in it all.
Colleen,
Yes,
for people to be able to do, you need the ones who needs to receive.
yes,
Exactly. Bless.
exactly. Yes,
This is the people needs to see, and I can actually see, and I thank you every time I need to assist someone for giving me the opportunity to exercise, to develop that part of me. You
Yes.
are blessed. So I don't think that is a blast. It's not a blast, but a like I say, a warning for those that are able to do but are not doing.
yes, yes,
Okay, and even not doing anything physical, you are just doing something absolutely spiritual now, and this is also doing, and
Yes.
much more harder.
yes.
So don't get harder on yourself.
No,
You are
it
blessed.
is not, yes, it is not something I believe myself.
Okay, good.
It is not something I believe myself, but it is difficult. And you know it when people who retire find it, and you yourself have gone through this process when you retire, Jackson. When you retire, wow, my energy has now shifted. I am no longer able to contribute in the way that I have. So many who retire, yes, struggle because they are no longer relied upon in the same way. So it is important to balance this teaching out by saying those that are not physically doing are also contributing to the greater good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're always contributing. You just need to see it.
Yes.
So you need to learn to see it, not maybe regard or try, but you need to learn to see it, because you also may not do if you are incapacitated, but you don't see how you can do in another way.
Yes.
Okay, so it values to everybody, and it's across. Possibly this is more towards the physical doing, right? Because the moral is, we mentioned things that doesn't involve any physical thing. It's just words and appearances and things. I know that, Colleen, you are quite limited in terms of physical and expressing, doing.
Yes.
But we are just doing now. And this is marvelous. This is more than many could do. I mean, not that could do, but are aware that they can do. So you are bringing awareness as well.
Yes.
Another way as well is doing. Sometimes it's quite tricky, because there was some lessons I learned about, for example, giving things away. You may give things away in a way that the person thinks they are helping you. This is, one example. Some people feel hard to receive, as you just said. People sometimes felt they are not, their dignity are trashed when you give something them for nothing, for free. So one way of doing that, one way of consciously taking this into consideration, is doing the way they think the dignity is still there. So, like, for example, silly example, I see someone we did in the past about giving our best clothes to the charity. This was much more symbolic than, in fact, what I'm going to say, but it has the same effect. We need to go to in the past we need to go to our wardrobe and get the best thing, the one we like more, and give away to charity. The way to do with someone who has issues with, as you just mentioned, with dignity, they think they are trashing the dignity when they get it. You give them something and tell them, you are helping me to get rid of this. Thank you very much for accepting, because I don't know where to get this on. I don't know how to get rid of this thing. Or, you know what I mean? You turn the way in such a way that the person thinks they are helping you, as opposed to you helping them. But this is in a conscious way. So when you approach the person that you know, the person has this issue of receiving, they don't know how to receive because they don't acknowledge that they are in a situation that they need help. So you provide help, making them in the first instance think they are helping you.
Yes, but if you only think that you need to provide, but not actually sense the need for you to grow, then the action itself is still at a one-dimensional level, because you have done it in action, but in your thought, you actually haven't realized that releasing the material is necessary for you to recognize, yes, a greater capacity within yourself. And so there is a need for each of us to not placate those that are needy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and to pretend. Can I contribute here for a moment? When Colin was born, and for a number of years afterwards, we had so many people who came and, offered their help, or, cooked meals, or, we had, services that would come to provide, support overnight, or, daytime support. And we would be, it was an open door. And, my family came, and there was no way that at that time we could reciprocate other than to say thank you. And for many of them, the thank you wasn't enough.
Yeah, but then it's not your problem.
No, it isn't. But
but
for ourselves, it was a hugely disempowering time.
Yeah.
Because we were receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving, and no matter how many times we said thank you, we couldn't. We ourselves were almost depleted in our spirits, because because everybody was giving and giving, and it's an extraordinary thing. And you showed some pictures too of the people who were in the street and who were begging and that kind of thing. For those people, we resonate with those people, because we know what it's like to continue to have to ask.
But this is as well a very hard work for those who receive.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What I'm saying is I see not problem, but I see growth in both sides. The receiving side and the giving side. Someone who think that for him to give something, they need to pretend something to not touch the dignity of the other person. That person has already went a little bit, grew a little bit. And for the receiving side that needs to reciprocate, it needs to also grow. Sit in that situation as something that God gave them to as well create the opportunity for those who need to grow in the other side. It's all God interacting. It's love interacting. That true love, the receiving love and the giving love. They are complementary. If the giving side think that you are ingrate, how do I say ingrato? Come on, someone help.
Without lack of gratitude
Yes.
and ingrate, yes.
Yes. If
Ungrateful.
someone giving, think you have
Ungrateful, yes.
ungrateful, okay, and the other side receiving, think, oh my God, I don't need to go through it. I don't want to go through this. My dignity is going. Both sides need to grow. Both sides need to create the love, the receiving love and the receiving giving, because it's a bless when you have the opportunity to help someone. It's a bless. Sometimes you don't even see that opportunity now, and sometimes the helping side is not just physical, it's not just material. Sometimes it's just a smile. And if you do a smile to someone, the receiving side is also to be absolutely great to receive that smile and reciprocate just silently with love, but not necessarily needs to think that it needs to be reciprocated. So I understand, Colleen, but I thought a lot about this because we went with Patrick before doing our charity, and those people in that community where those people were housing commission and their life was trashed. We went to talk with them. It was unbelievable. We need to be really careful to not, how can I say, trash their dignity, to not, and also my spirit, I'm going there with a completely grateful heart for the opportunity to be able to help someone. So that is the situation in that.
And I think so.
And it's like this one here, acted out of love.
I think Jackson too, and getting back to where we were, I think in that time it would have been great and almost healing for us to have somebody who was the giver, the physically giving, to say to us, no, you are the blessing for us because through you we are growing.
Exactly.
But those words don't come forth because it comes through as those who are giving are the benevolent ones, and those who are receiving are it's their charity. So we're works of charity, you know.
This is the questions. This is part of the question that we did. I put it in some slides before. Say, did you do it to appear you are good?
Yes.
Or you did to be good?
Mm-hmm.
So those were appearances. Those were people to look good. So those need to grow. Well, they already volunteer. So yes, they grow, but they need to grow towards love. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you.
My pleasure. Those discussions are absolutely great.
Yeah, just a little closing reflection. I was about to say that, like I said, the discussion has been great, but we have been over an hour. I was just going to ask, was close to finish.
Yeah, now this is the final slide,
Cool.
the final reflection. Just give the reflection, okay? It's all right? Okay, so we talk about appearance, about words, about influence, and we've seen that none of those by themselves define who we truly are. In the end, we are not known by what we believe, but by the good we do. Not by what we intend, but by what we actually live. So you may intend to do something good, but end up not doing it, doing something else. So I leave you with a simple question. If my life were observed only through my actions, what would it reveal about me? Do you know what? Because in the end, we become what we do. And remember, and this is interesting, Colleen, each one is responsible for their own progress. All right. That's it. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Jax.
Thank you,
Anyone
Jackson. Great.
has any comments?
Any more comments, or we should do our prayer? So we already, yeah, 20 minutes over the clock. I was not, I knew that we were going a little bit, but not as much as that. We had a quite good discussion.
You
That's
tell me.
great.
No, it's all right. No, it's all right. I think you can do our final prayer, please.
Okay. So thank you, God, for allowing us to be here. Thank you for inspiring us to open our minds for those teachings, for putting Pedro Emmanuel in our way, to be able to drink from that spring, to be able to have the opportunity to grow spiritually, morally, ethically. We ask God, and also our mentors and guard angels, to allow another great week for us, that we can irradiate this light, this energy, positive energy, to anyone who cross our pathway. We also ask God to get all this positive energy, all this willing for the world to get better, and use this into those who don't see it, into those who to open their minds, to clear their minds, and show them the right way, the right path, for less suffering, for less afflictions. But anyway, everything is all right, and I hope, God, this is going to be absolutely fantastic end, which is fraternity and a society where we are all together. So thank you very much for the night, and so be it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming today. I hope to see you guys next week. It will be me. And I hope you have all a lovely week with the opportunity to put in practice what we listened tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice week.
Thanks, Jackson.
Bye.
Nice.
Bye-bye.